Hey guys, so I thought it might be nice to work on some Valentine's baking. I want to try to figure out what recipes would be good for it. I've got one that I've already made and I'm going to make it again and see if I can improve it in any way. So anyway, I have been sick for the last week and you could tell I'm still congested and everything, but I'm doing a lot better. A few weeks before that, I had to go to a few doctor's appointments and make sure everything was okay because I'm dealing with some other health concerns. I got like a biopsy done and the results came back okay, but I need to get a follow-up in a year. And other than that, so that's like good news for right now. But things should clear up within a year, and if they don't, then I'll figure that out whenever it comes to it. So, and before that, I ended up taking even more time off because we agreed to host a large group of people here, so in early January, and that was fun, but I was exhausted after it and just had to get a lot of things done around the house that I didn't get to keep up with. And then before that it was like Christmas and everything like that, so that's why I've been gone for so long. But I'm excited to get back into it. And you might think, oh, it's a little bit early for Valentine's Day recipes, but if I don't get it done now, then I won't get to. So we're gonna work on that now. Also, I got my nails done. Y'all have never seen my nails done before because I haven't actually got them done since the last time I was probably like a freshman in college whenever I got my nails done. So I went with some friends. We've been planning to do this since like before Halloween of last year. And our plans finally aligned so that we could do it on that particular day. And I got them done like 2 days before I got sick, so I managed to get my nails done in the midst of all that craziness. But got flour out. I'm gonna get the rest of the ingredients out, and then we're gonna start. The first thing we're gonna be making is chocolate rolls. So for the sweet rolls, I just go ahead and warm up a cup of milk in the microwave, and then to that I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of sugar and add the other 4 tablespoons later. We're just letting the yeast proof right now. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of yeast that I keep in my freezer, and my Azure Standard yeast has been holding up very well. It was still good even whenever, I don't know, like a few months ago whenever our power went out. So we had a storm or something. I don't even remember when it was, but and then you'll see the mistake I make in a minute. I add the butter too early, but that's okay. It still worked out great. I don't know what I was thinking. I just added the melted butter to this. I hope that doesn't mess it up. Because you're supposed to like let the yeast proof in the milk and sugar, and I just added the melted butter to it. I was thinking like I usually rinse out, like whenever I have to warm up milk and then melt butter, I usually rinse this out so I don't curdle any milk that's left in it and then melt the butter. So I just went ahead and melted it. We're gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of the sugar. You need 6 total for the dough, but you only add 2 in the beginning. Okay, so it's hard to tell, but the yeast has bloomed and I'm going to add in the rest of the sugar and the rest of the ingredients for the dough and knead it out real good, and then we're going to let it rest for a while. So you add the butter. It's like 5 tablespoons. I just estimated this. You melt it, you let it slightly cool, and then you add it in. You add your other 6 tablespoons of sugar, and then you add 2 eggs, a teaspoon of salt, and 4 cups of bread flour. I haven't had to use this recipe with a scale yet. I've been using just cup measurements, and it's been great. So this is the second time I've made it, and it is such a lovely dough. I want to use this dough to make some other things. I'm not really sure what yet, but it is so soft and fluffy, but yet it's substantial. It holds up very well. I think it would make good, like other kinds of rolls would be good to experiment with, like maybe like a lemon curd filling for the rolls, or something like that would be very good. And I'm going to knead this by hand. The recipe does say you can use your stand mixer, but I've found that it really doesn't take much kneading for this dough to come together, so I'm just getting it together with a fork. You could do this part with your hands, but just in case I ever need to add more flour, and to keep from the dough whenever it's super sticky all sticking to my hands, I'm just going to use a fork. But you add in the bread flour a little bit at a time. And I actually emptied one of our cereal containers to use for bread flour. I didn't have a pantry container to use for bread flour before, so since I've been using bread flour more often lately, I decided to go ahead and give up one of our cereal containers for it. And here I am just kneading it. Normally, if I'm trying to knead a dough and it doesn't need any more flour, I oil the surface that I'm working it on, but this will need more flour, so it's okay to go ahead and knead that in. The dough will still be very moist. And you're going to knead it for about 8 to 10 minutes. Honestly, I just knead it until it's pretty smooth. This probably only took 6 minutes, but so I'm just showing you the process. It's still pretty rough right there. So you're going to let this dough rise twice. The first time it's going to take 2 hours, and see, it's all nice and smooth and soft. It's not that sticky at all. I'm just oiling the same bowl, putting the dough in there, and then it's going to go for its first rise. So I am out of brown sugar and I need to make some more. Y'all have seen me do this before, but here's my brown sugar container. Basically, I'm just taking white sugar, and adding molasses to it. I'll probably need more than this. I have another opened jar in my pantry. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this sugar, and this is white sugar, plain sugar, whatever you want to call it. It's just left with all the natural good stuff in it. So I'm gonna pour all of this in here. And I think I'm actually going to go to the room that has all my food storage buckets in it and grab some more sugar, because one, I'll need to fill this up anyway, and I'm going to be making more than this. Okay, so I got more, but unfortunately I only have this much sugar. Like, I was scraping the bottom of my food storage bucket, so I'm gonna have to order more sugar soon, just so that I don't run out of regular sugar. I'm gonna add a little bit more to this, but not too much more, because I don't know whenever I'll get to make an Azure Standard pickup. Alright, so we've got our sugar. I'm gonna open this. Oh gosh, I was not. Might not be able to open this one. Okay, so this one has been molasses shut. I can't get it. It's glued shut. I'll have to get my husband to open up this one. I'm just gonna use this. This one was already open. So, alright, you're gonna need a good bit in there. If you need an exact, if you've never done this before and you're kind of worried about putting too much in it, you can look up an exact like ratio for light brown sugar and dark brown sugar. I do mine somewhere in between light and dark. I don't know exactly because I don't measure mine out. So, and my sugar crystals are kind of big, so if yours are smaller, you might need more or less. I would think less. I don't know. Because of like surface area and stuff. So I'm just gonna try mixing it with my hands. I've tried doing this with like a spoon and like a KitchenAid mixer. Sometimes people do that, but in my opinion, it doesn't get the clumps out. It takes forever to do that. So I just get in there with my hands. I'm trying to do it one-handed, that way if I need more I can add more. I feel like every time I do this I need more molasses than I think I do. So I might not need more than that. I've created like a light brown sugar, and what's in here is a bit darker, but that might be okay. That might be a good thing. Okay. We made a good bit. And I'll see if I can compare the colors. So this one is a good bit darker. But you can tell that there's enough molasses in it because it'll start to like stick together and form a shape, kind of like kinetic sand or something. But alright, and there's our brown sugar, and we've got plenty enough to do the next recipe. Not the next recipe, the recipe for the filling. And then, what was I saying? We've got plenty enough brown sugar to do the recipe for the filling of the chocolate rolls and like cookies or something else if I want to make something else with this. So now we're going to work on the filling, which is really fun. So it is 6 tablespoons of butter, and you're just going to melt it till it's softened. So not completely melted to where it's clear, but to where it's still opaque and thick. And then you're going to add half a cup of brown sugar, some cocoa powder. The recipe actually calls to add cinnamon, but I didn't want the cinnamon with the chocolate, so I didn't do that. But you're welcome to. You could also add espresso powder to this to enhance the chocolate flavor. And then you're going to add vanilla, and then you're going to add 3/4 cup chocolate chips. The chocolate chips you can either mix it in with the filling or you can sprinkle it on top after you spread out the filling. But you'll see here that I completely forgot to do it. So the first time I made this recipe, I made it the right way. And the second time, I just put the chocolate chips on top of the rolls because I forgot to add them in. So It's all okay. And the filling isn't going to look like a lot, but trust me, it is enough. It'll spread evenly, and these will taste pretty chocolatey without being overly sweet. So they're just the right amount of sweet. So you're going to roll it out, and it's pretty easy to roll out. Just make sure you have a floured surface. And this time I tried harder to get it in more even rectangle shape, and I think I did a pretty good job. So I'm going to roll them into heart shapes, which I think is so fun. They kind of stay in the heart shape whenever they bake, but I think there were so many in the pan that whenever they squish up against each other, it's hard to tell that they're hearts, and then whenever you ice them, it kind of covers it. So that's up to you if you want to make them into hearts, but they do end up being really cute still. There's a couple way to cut them. You can either cut them with a knife like I do and then roll them up, or you can and see, like I said, the filling is plenty enough. So or you can roll them up into a log and then cut them with dental floss. I've done that many a times making cinnamon rolls, and it gets you a nice even cut. I actually had a lot of fun making them into hearts, so I'm trying to get them like about 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide, and then just rolling from both ends. Oh my gosh, look how cute that is. And then I'm running off to go show my husband. So the second rise is after you've already shaped them into rolls. They're going to rise for an hour in the pan, and then you're going to bake them. Oh, and I have the recipes all in the description box. If you are new here, I always do that. So here you can see I forgot to add the chocolate chips, so I'm just sprinkling them on top. William, my husband, said he liked it better this way because it felt like there's more chocolate throughout, because obviously you don't get any chocolatiness on the outside, so having the chocolate chips on the outside helps. So I'm just warming up some cream in the microwave, not to where it's hot, but just slightly warm, and then I'm sifting some powdered sugar. I don't always take the time to sift sugar, but this is really clumpy, so I got it at Sam's Club, and it's basically rocks. In fact, I think I left it in, but you can see that I get down to the last little bit of like pebbles of powdered sugar, and I just throw it away because there was no breaking them up. So I'm just sifting it right into that cream, and then you're going to whisk this all together and make the glaze. So I kind of followed the recipe for the glaze, but I didn't add espresso powder to it. I didn't want it to be a coffee tasting icing. Just because I wanted this to just be plain chocolate, nothing else, no cinnamon, no espresso, unless I was adding the espresso just to enhance the chocolate, but there's no chocolate in this, so it just didn't make sense to me. I'm sure it would be good, just not what we wanted. So then I add in the vanilla, and it makes a beautiful glaze. Of course, you could do a cream cheese glaze if you prefer that. And the alcohol in my vanilla extract was getting low, so I was adding some vodka to it to top it, since I wasn't going to be baking anything else for a while, because obviously you'd want to let this soak before you use it again. You can tell how light in color it is. I went over to my husband to ask him if he could open the bottle of vodka, and by the time I went over there, I was able to open it. Look how beautiful they are. You can see that, especially after sprinkling the chocolate chips on top, it kind of camouflages the heart shapes, but I still think they were really cute. And I just spread the icing over while they're hot, so that the icing gets everywhere and keeps them nice and moist. So I'm just throwing together a batch of brownies. This brownie recipe is my favorite by far that I've found. It's really simple to throw together, and it fills an 8x8. Although for this, and you'll see in a minute, I wish I would have spread it out into a slightly larger pan. Maybe not quite a 9x13, but definitely something to make the brownies thinner, because I wanted to cut them in cute little shapes. But this is the closest recipe I've found that tastes similar in taste and texture to like a box mix. And I like the taste and texture of box mix brownies, but I don't want the ingredients that are in them, and I also don't want to be reliant on buying a box. Like if we want brownies, I just want to be able to whip them up with stuff I already have and not have to buy that specific thing, if that makes sense. So I'm just whipping these up real quick. You could use any brownies you wanted to, whatever your favorite is. Okay, and I'm just crumpling up the parchment paper so that it lays nicer in the pan, and then I'm spraying that with Baker's Joy or whatever you got, and then I'm gonna put my brownies in and bake them, and then I'm gonna whip together a cream cheese icing. Okay, so I probably have a third of a block of cream cheese. Actually, I use Neufchtel. I think that's how you say it. I don't really know. It's like the low-fat cream cheese. Anyway, so then I add some heavy whipping cream. Did I say that I microwaved the cream cheese? Yeah, anyway, I did, to make that soft. And then I added a little bit of heavy whipping cream, and then slowly added some powdered sugar. Like I said, this is very clumpy, but this was a whole nother day, if you couldn't tell. And I didn't want to bring out the sifter and do all that over again, so I just decided to whisk the heck out of it. So that's what I did. And I didn't want it too thin since these were going on brownies. So I tried to thicken it up by adding a little bit more after I got all of those clumps out. So I ran to Walmart the other day and got these heart-shaped cookie cutters. The whole pack was like around $3. They're really cheap. I normally like to get metal cookie cutters, but they didn't have any in heart shapes. So it's kind of funny because I own probably like 30 cookie cutters or something, but no, it's got to be more than that because I have all the alphabet. Anyway, so at some point last year I decluttered a lot of my cookie cutters because I just didn't have the space for them. There's no good way to store them. So I thought for sure I had at least one heart cookie cutter. I didn't. I think I used to, but it was one of the ones that was enameled in paint, and I think the paint was chipping, and that's probably why I got rid of it. But I was surprised that I didn't have any heart cookie cutters out of all that. So I forgot to roll the camera for it, but so you didn't see me icing it, but I just drizzled some of that cream cheese icing that we threw together on the brownies, and then I went kind of crazy with the sprinkles at Walmart. So I got some Valentine sprinkles and decorated the heart brownies with it. Like I was saying earlier, I think if I made the brownies a little bit thinner, it would have been better. So anyway, this looks like a mess, and in a way it was. These are Byzantine honey fritters. My husband saw this on Tasting History's website. If you've never heard of them, they do all sorts of recipes and like connect it to some sort of historical significance. So it's pretty cool. But I wanted to make heart-shaped honey fritters. This is the first time making it, and you take 2 cups of milk, and then you warm it up until it's steaming, and then you add some flour to it, and then you basically stir it until it's thickened and looks like a big ball of mashed potatoes, like you saw. I think these should have been, you can't really roll them out because you're not supposed to let them get dry, but you're supposed to refrigerate it on this plate. And maybe I should use a cookie sheet next time or something, because I think they should have even been thinner than this. And that's all the hearts I could get out of it, because some parts of the dough were still kind of too moist. But the hearts did look really cute. So the rest of it, I just kind of cut into chunks. I don't know what else you want to call it, and plopped them in there. So after the first batch, I was like, you know what, we're not doing any more hearts, and just did it this way. And then after this, you're supposed to drizzle them in honey. So that's what we did, and we both decided that we should try again the recipe because it's really simple. Try the recipe again, but just make sure they are not rolled out, but spread out super thin. So I'm going to try it that way next time. So be warned if you make honey fritter recipe. It was kind of a cool idea, but it didn't work out for us. So anyway, that is the last Valentine recipe I made, and I hope y'all have a lovely Valentine's Day and get to spend time with your loved ones. And I am trying to get back into making more videos after my long absence, so I'm really excited to be back, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!